Our multivariate presentation is called Political Participation in Canada by Langley and Athens. Our research question is, and the purpose of the study is to evaluate the question, what is the most influential factor contributing to an individual's level of political participation in Canada? From the dataset World Value Survey, 1999 to 2004. The analytical approaches we used are hierarchical regression, correlation, and reliability analysis. Our rationale is based on the fact that political participation has been on a decline in Canada, and it would be beneficial to know which factors are influential in bringing political participation back up in Canada. The studies done by Andre Blaise, Elizabeth Gittengil, Neil Nevitt, and Richard Nadeau support our rationale. Our dependent variable is comprised to measure political participation, and listed is an index that has 5 indicators, which has an alpha score of 0.7152, which proves that there is a strong and significant relationship between the indicators, which makes it effective to comprise an index.
Our first independent variable is education, and the hypothesis is that education will have the strongest positive correlation with the dependent variable political participation, and this correlates to Sunshine-Hilligus' study. Our second independent variable is employment status, and it is hypothesized that employed individuals are more likely to participate in politics compared to unemployed individuals. This follows the studies of Upal and Coate that say working more leads to more political participation.
Our third independent variable is political interest. We hypothesize that political participation will have a strong correlation with political interest because individuals more interested in politics are more likely to participate in politics. This hypothesis is based on the writings of Robert Boot and Willem Serres.
Correlation coefficient is designed to measure the strength between two interval-level variables and/or properly coded ordinal variables. The independent variable education has the strongest correlation coefficient of 0.306, which is labeled strong in the standards for public opinion data. This confirms our hypothesis that as education increases, so does political participation. Our second independent variable, employment status, has a correlation coefficient of 0.248. which is moderately strong in accordance for the standards for public opinion data. The negative coefficient tells us that those who are unemployed tend to be more politically active than those who are employed. This goes against our previously stated hypothesis. The final independent variable, political interest, has a correlation coefficient of 0.284, which can be deemed fairly strong. This confirms our previously stated hypothesis that as political interest increases, so does political participation, and each of these relationships are also statistically significant. Is our regression analysis. The R-squared value of 0.177 tells us that the explained variance of this regression is almost 18%. The significance of the overall equation is 0.000, telling us that the results are not likely due to sampling error. Looking closely at the tolerance scores, it is evident that the problem of collinearity does not exist, since each value is well above the 0.20 threshold. It is also evident by observing the beta values that low education has the greatest influence on political participation, followed closely by political interest and employment status. The B value for low education, 0.13, tells us that those with a low education participate 0.13 categories less in politics in comparison to those with a high education. The B values for medium education tells us that those with a medium level education participate in politics 0.06 categories less than those with a high education. However, this coefficient is very weak and is not useful in determining political participation. The B values for employment status indicate that those who are employed participate in politics 0.08 of a category more than those who are unemployed. The coefficient for interest is an insignificant predictor of political participation. There may be other factors affecting political participation, such as age. Age was used as a control variable in a hierarchical regression in which youth aged 15 to 24, and older adults 55 plus were dummied, and middle-aged individuals 25 to 54 was used as a reference category. It is hypothesized that specification will occur. It is expected that those individuals who are middle-aged would have a stronger relationship with political participation than those in the youth and elderly categories. This corresponds to a study conducted by Elections Canada in October 2003 about youth electoral participation. After introducing the control variable of age, the R-squared value increased by almost 2%. In the control table, now about 20% of the variance is explained. The overall significance of the table remains at 0.000, and the tolerance scores for each variable is well over the 0.2 threshold, indicating that the problem of multicollinearity is not an issue. From examination of the beta values, it is evident that the political interest has the greatest influence on political participation, followed by low education and employment status. Many similarities can be seen between the original regression and the control table. The B-value for low education decreased just slightly to 0.11, and the B-value for employment status also decreased just over a third. The B-values for medium education and political interest still remain highly insignificant due to their weak B-values, and their B-values remain almost the same. By examining the control variables, it is evident that those age 55 plus participate 0.07 categories less in political participation than those that are middle-aged, and those age 15 to 24 participate 0.20 categories less than those age 25 to 54. However, the B-values show a very weak relationship between age and political participation. This can be noted as a case of replication.
Education was confirmed to have a positive effect on political participation. Political interest and employment status yielded weak B-values that could not confirm a relationship with political participation. Age proved to be an insignificant factor in an individual's level of political participation. Further studies need to be conducted in order to find out which factors are more greatly influential on a person's political participation in Canada.